What is going on, guys? Merijn here and welcome to today's video. I'm gonna explain step by step how you can create your own meal plan, right? For your own personal body, goals, and including the foods that you like to eat on a daily basis so you can stick to the diet on a long term as well. So sit tight and let's get the video rolling. So the first thing we need to do is calculate our maintenance calories, and this is the amount of calories that your personal body needs in order to stay exactly the same, so to maintain your current weight without any gains or losses in muscle or body fat. Now luckily this calculation is going to be done for you. It is super simple because I have a free tool on my website that can calculate your TDEE, which is our total daily energy expenditure, and those are the maintenance calories that we're going to use. So when you go to the calculator, you simply enter all your statistics and then the TDEE will be calculated for you, and those are your maintenance calories. Now I want you to understand that this is an online calculation, so that doesn't mean it is fully accurate to every single person because everybody is different. Genetics play a part, people have different metabolisms, but this calculation is a very good estimate, so that's why I want you to start with that. Once you have those calories calculated, I want you to actually stick to those for the first 2 weeks to make sure those are actually your maintenance calories. Because if you notice that your weight goes up, that means you're actually eating more calories than your maintenance, and if your weight goes down, that means you're actually eating less calories than your maintenance. If that happens, you have to alter those calories in order to figure out your maintenance calories. So it is not a super quick process because it will take 2 weeks, but those 2 weeks are definitely worth it because then you will have your maintenance calories exactly, and you know that, scientifically, if you follow the steps that I'm going to tell you today, you are going to set it up properly, and I think that is just the way to go. Because otherwise you're simply just estimating what you're doing. Step number 2 is to choose a goal. You have to decide whether you want to focus on building muscle or on losing fat. There is no middle stage. There is a possibility of a recomposition, but this usually only works for beginners or people on steroids, and it's not something that I recommend people to focus on because, for example, if you're a beginner and you focus on losing fat, you might still build some muscle in that process. I always think, well, that's a nice extra bonus, but it's not something you want to assume that will happen, or it's not something you want to count on. But the more advanced you get, it's pretty much impossible to do both at the same time if you train naturally, which is a lifestyle that I promote, and that is just pretty much going to be impossible to do so. So that's not something I recommend. I always recommend focusing on one goal, since then you will be way more effective. So pick one of the 2 goals, and then we move on with step number 3, which is calculating your macros. 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, 25% of the total calories coming from fat, and the rest of the calories will be filled in by carbs. Now if you decide to pick the goal losing fat, we're going to eat 500 calories below our maintenance, and for the goal building muscle, we're going to eat 200 calories above our maintenance. Now as an example, let's take a 180 pound male whose maintenance is 2700 calories. His protein intake will be 180 grams because it's 1 gram per pound of body weight. Now that intake will be exactly the same whether his goal is building muscle or losing fat, but when we come to the fat intake, it's going to be slightly different because now we're going to calculate a percentage of the calories he is taking in. So let's say he is doing a lean bulk and he wants to gain muscle. That means he's going to eat 200 calories on top of those 2700 calories, which is 2900 calories. If we calculate 25% of those 2900 calories, we come down to 725 calories. You have to divide that by 9 because fats are 9 calories per gram. So now we come to 80.5 grams of fat. So we round that up to 80 grams of fat, 180 grams of protein, and the rest will be filled in by carbs during his lean bulk. Now proteins and carbs have 4 calories per gram, so we do 180 times 4 in order to get to our protein calories. That is 720 calories. We also have 720 calories from fats, so in total that is 1440 calories. So we're going to take 2900 calories minus 1440 calories, that is 1460 calories, dividing it by 4 because carbs are 4 calories per grams. That is 365 grams of carbs. So that is his intake for a lean bulk. So we'll do exactly the same thing for if he wants to lose fat, and then we'll come down to the following macros. And now that you have calculated your macros, the fun can begin because now we can decide what foods we are going to fit in our meal plan. And the cool thing is that you might remember, like 5 to 10 years ago when everybody thought that in order to build muscle, you had to eat chicken all day, rice, tilapia, broccoli, You could not use any sauce, you could never eat fast food in your life again, but those times are over because by now science has proven that that does not necessarily affect your weight loss, but it's all about your caloric and macronutrient intake per day, which is why I decided to do it this way as well. And the method I follow is called flexible dieting. They call it if it fits your macros. And a rule that I have here is because yes, you can still eat McDonald's, you can still have a pizza here and there and get in shape, but you also want to make sure that you are healthy in the process. So I always have the rule of 80% whole, clean, non-processed foods, and then you can play around with the other 20%. For me personally, my diet is usually about 90-10, where only 10% comes from more unhealthy food. So step number 4 here is to download a tracking app for your food. And I recommend using MyFitnessPal. I've used it ever since I started and I simply love it. I do have to say that I haven't tried out any other apps. So if there's an app that you really like, make sure to use it. But today I'm going to use MyFitnessPal as an example. Now you can start entering the foods that you like into MyFitnessPal. But you do have to make sure that at the end of the day, you come down to the total macro count. So you cannot just eat an unlimited amount of anything that you want, because you have to realize that every single food contains of a different macronutrient split, so a different amount of protein, fats, and carbs. So you have to make sure that all the foods that are combined over the day come down to your total macro. So this is a little bit of puzzling throughout the day. That's why I do recommend doing it in advance. So actually like tracking all your food before you eat it. Make sure that you focus on hitting your macros at the end of the day and not necessarily your caloric intake, because on MyFitnessPal that can be a little bit different. So the macros don't always add up to the calories. That has to do with fiber. I'm not going deep into this. So I just advise you guys to focus on the macros and don't worry about the calories, that they are a little bit different. When you're a complete beginner, it might be a little bit hard to figure it out at first because you don't know what foods contain what macros and you don't know what is high in carbs, what is high in protein, etc. But you will figure that out as time goes by. Remember that fitness is always a marathon, not a sprint. So you want to get into it slowly and learn more as you go. But it's definitely a good starting point to try it out. I'll also put some foods right now on the screen that mostly contain a specific macronutrient, so that you guys can use those as an example of foods that you can put into your diet for those specific macronutrients. Now with that said, most foods contain all the 3 macronutrients in a different ratio, so you'll always have to play around with it a little bit and create the best meal plan for you that is easy to stick to and enjoyable at the same time. Remember that if you're focusing on gaining muscle or losing fat, whatever your goal is, your body is going to adjust to your meal plan, to the amount of macros you take in. So you do have to make sure that once that happens and your progress stalls, that you either up your calories, so you eat more if you're in a gaining phase, or you lower your calories if you're trying to lose fat. Now, never take the calories from protein. So always keep your protein at that 1 gram per pound of body weight, which we talked about earlier in this video. If you need more help with your diet, workouts, or getting in shape in general, I do highly recommend applying for my Ultimate Physique Transformation, because I have a mad discount at the moment. This will give you a customized meal plan, workout routine, support along the way, access to my app where you can also see instructional videos of all the exercises. It'll basically be a full blueprint for you to get in shape while also asking any questions along the way. So the link to that will be in the description box down below. If you guys have any more questions after seeing this video for setting up your own meal plan, make sure to leave them in the comments. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. I would highly appreciate it if this video was useful. Please subscribe to the channel for more videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.